Here's why Alicent felt betrayed by Otto Hightower's ruthless plans for Aegon's rise. Betrayal doesn't always come from your enemies. Sometimes it comes from those who share your blood. Sometimes it comes from the very people who claim to fight for your future. And in House of the Dragon, Alicent Hightower's greatest betrayal wasn't from Rhaenyra, or Daemon, or even the lords of Westeros. No, her deepest wound came from her own father, Otto Hightower, the man who raised her, the man who used her as a pawn, and the man whose ruthless plans for Aegon's rise to the Iron Throne left Alicent feeling utterly betrayed. Today, we're diving into the truth of Alicent's relationship with her father, why Otto's schemes left scars that will define her forever, and how his obsession with power destroyed not only House Targaryen but also his bond with his daughter. When we first meet Alicent Hightower in House of the Dragon, she is soft-spoken, dutiful, and deeply loyal. She is best friends with Rhaenyra Targaryen, studying with her, laughing with her, sharing secrets about court life. Alicent is not a schemer by nature. She is a daughter who longs for love, security, and belonging. But standing behind her is Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King, who sees his daughter not as Alicent, the girl, but as Alicent, the opportunity. The death of Queen Aemma creates a void in the Red Keep. And Otto wastes no time. Instead of comforting his daughter in her grief, instead of allowing her to heal, he sends her, dressed in her mother's gown, to the chambers of King Viserys. This is the first betrayal. Alicent's childhood innocence is traded away for political advancement. She becomes queen not by her own desire, but by her father's ambition. And while Alicent accepts this role, a part of her is quietly broken. Because she knows the truth. Her father used her as a tool. At first, Alicent convinces herself it's worth it. She gains stability. She bears children. She becomes queen. But over time, the weight of Otto's plans grows heavier. She realizes that every moment of kindness, every piece of advice, every push forward is not for her happiness, but for Otto's dream, to see a Hightower grandson crowned king. Now, let's talk about Aegon. Alicent loves her son, but she knows who he is. She knows his flaws, his recklessness, his lack of discipline. She knows he is no true king. Yet Otto insists, time and again, that Aegon must rule. For Otto, it isn't about Aegon's worth. It's about victory. It's about legacy. It's about placing his bloodline above all others. And this is where Alicent feels betrayed. Because while she loves her children, she also knows the truth of succession. She knows Viserys chose Rhaenyra as heir. She knows that honoring that choice would mean peace. But Otto doesn't care about peace. He doesn't care about Alicent's friendships, her heart, or even her dignity. He only cares about the Game of Thrones. And when Alicent finally sees this, when she realizes that her father's every whisper was designed to manipulate her into betraying her best friend and crowning her unready son, the wound cuts deep. Because Otto didn't just betray Rhaenyra. He betrayed Alicent's trust. Think about the night Viserys died. Alicent believed she heard his dying wish, that Aegon should be king. It was confusion, perhaps desperation, but Alicent truly believed she was fulfilling Viserys' will. What did Otto do? Instead of questioning, instead of clarifying, instead of honoring the truth, Otto immediately seized the moment. He had been planning for this all along. Secret councils, quiet promises. He moved with speed and precision, crowning Aegon before Rhaenyra even knew her father was dead. And Alicent, she was left behind, swept up in a tide of decisions she thought were hers, but were really her father's. This is betrayal at its purest. Alicent wanted to believe she was honoring her husband. She wanted to believe she was protecting her children. Instead, she was being used once again, as a pawn in Otto's relentless game. Her own agency was stolen. Her voice twisted. Her heart ignored. The most heartbreaking part is that Alicent loved her father. Despite everything, she trusted him. Even when others doubted him, she leaned on him for counsel. And Otto exploited that love. He never saw her as a daughter in need of care. He saw her as a weapon in need of sharpening. By pushing Aegon onto the throne, Otto not only risked plunging Westeros into civil war, he shattered the last remnants of Alicent's trust. Imagine how it must feel for her. To realize that your father orchestrated your marriage, manipulated your grief, pushed your son forward despite his flaws, and dragged you into a war you never truly chose. Alicent may have played the game, but in her heart, she knew, she was not the player. She was the piece, and the one moving her across the board was Otto Hightower. Let's break down the layers of this betrayal. First, Otto betrayed Alicent's innocence. By sending her to Viserys' bedchamber, he forced her into a role she never asked for. This robbed her of friendship, of freedom, and of the chance to choose her own path. Second, he betrayed her trust. Alicent believed Otto had her best interests at heart. She believed he guided her for her protection. But in reality, he guided her for his ambition. Third, he betrayed her voice. By orchestrating Aegon's rise, Otto silenced Alicent's doubts. He made her complicit in a plot she wasn't fully in control of. Her words, her fears, her desires, they didn't matter. Only the plan mattered. And fourth, Otto betrayed her legacy. Alicent will forever be remembered as the queen who stood against Rhaenyra, the woman whose son usurped the throne. Her name will be tied to division, not peace. But in truth, that stain belongs to Otto. He created it, she merely bore it. This betrayal is what makes Alicent such a tragic character. Because deep down, she never wanted war. She never wanted bloodshed. She wanted stability. She wanted love. She wanted her children to be safe. And yet, through Otto's schemes, she became the face of conflict, the spark that ignited the dance of the dragons. Think of the Green Council, when Aegon's crowning was plotted in secret. Alicent discovered her father's plans and realized he had been preparing for this moment long before Viserys' death. He didn't mourn. He didn't hesitate. He only moved forward with ruthless efficiency. To Otto, Viserys was just a king to outlive. To Alicent, he was a husband to grieve. That contrast shows the core betrayal. Otto never cared about the people. He only cared about the throne. And yet, despite this betrayal, Alicent still carried on. That is the most painful truth of all. She still obeyed. She still pushed Aegon forward. Why? Because she had no choice. Because she was trapped between loyalty to her father and love for her children. Otto's betrayal forced Alicent into a position where she had to become the very thing she despised. A schemer, a usurper, a queen drenched in politics. But make no mistake, Alicent knew she was betrayed. Every look of sorrow in her eyes, every hesitation, every quiet plea for peace shows us the truth. She didn't want this path. Her father forced her onto it. Here's why this betrayal matters beyond Alicent herself. Because it shapes the entire war to come. Otto's ruthless ambition set the stage for fire and blood. But Alicent's heartbreak shapes the humanity of it. She is not just a villain. She is not just the mother of Aegon. She is a woman who was betrayed by her own father, forced to carry the burden of his schemes. And that makes her story one of the most tragic in all of House of the Dragon. When we watch the dance of the dragons unfold, we should remember this: Alicent didn't light the fire. Otto did, but Alicent was the one left to burn in it. And that is why she felt betrayed. Because in the end, her father didn't just destroy her friendship with Rhaenyra. He destroyed her chance at peace, her trust in family, and her hope for a life that was truly hers.